Hey everyone, welcome to Read to You. Um, we just finished page 124, and we are now on page 125 at the top, and it says, he wanted to see the man. So, here we go. He wanted to see the man alive, not burnt back there like a body shelled in another body. And some of the money must be left with Faber, of course, to be spent after Montag ran on his way. Perhaps he could make the open country, and live on or near the river, and near the highways, in the fields and hills. A great whirling whisper made him look to the sky. The police helicopters were rising so far away, it seemed someone had blown the gray head off of a dry dandelion flower. 24 of them flurried, wavering indecisively, 3 miles off, with butterflies puzzled by autumn, and then they plummeted down to land, one by one, here and there softly kneeling the street, where it turned back to beetles. They shrieked along the boulevard, or suddenly leapt back into air, continuing their search. And here was the gas station, its attendants busy now, with customers approaching. From the rear, Montag entered the men's washroom. Through the aluminum wall, he heard a radio voice saying, "War has been declared." The gas was being pumped outside, and the men and the beetles were talking, and the attendants were talking about the engines and the gas money they owed. Montag stood trying to make himself feel the shock of the quiet statement from the radio, but nothing would happen. The war would have to wait for him to come to it in his personal file an hour, 2 hours from now. He washed his hands and face and toweled himself dry, making little sound. He came out of the washroom and shut the door carefully, walked into the darkness, and at last stood again on the edge of the empty boulevard. There it lay, a game for him to win. A vast, glowing alley in the cool morning. The boulevard was as clean as the surface of an area 2 minutes before the appearance of certain unnamed victims and certain unknown killers. The air over above the vast concrete river trembled with the warmth of Montag's body alone. It was incredible how he felt his temperature could cause the whole immediate world to vibrate. He was a phosphorescent target. He knew it. He felt it. And now he must begin his little walk. 3 blocks away, a few headlights flared. Montag drew a deep breath. His lungs were like burning brooms in his chest. His mouth was stuck dry from running. His throat tasted bloody iron, and there was rusted steel in his feet. But about those lights there. Once you started walking, you'd have to gauge how fast those beetles could make it down here. Well, how far was it to the other curve? It seemed like 100 yards. Probably not 100, but figure for that anyway. Figure that with him going very slow, at a nice stroll, it might take as much as 30 seconds, 40 seconds to walk all the way. Beetles? Once started, they could leave 3 blocks behind them in about 15 seconds. So even if halfway across he started to run, he put his right foot out, and then the left foot, and then his right. He walked on the empty avenue. Either the streets were entirely empty, of course. You couldn't be sure or safe crossing, for a car could appear suddenly, once the rise 4 blocks farther on, and be on past you before you could take a dozen breaths. He decided not to count his steps. He looked neither to left nor right. The light over the overhead lamp seemed as bright and revealed as midday sun, just as hot. He listened to the sound of the car picking up speed, 2 blocks away on his right. Its movable headlights jerked back and forth suddenly and caught at Montag. "Keep going." Montag flattered, got a grip on the book, and forced himself not to freeze. Instinctively he took a few quick running steps, then talked out loud to himself and pulled up the stroll again. He was now half across the street, but the roar from the Beetle's engines whined higher as he put on speed. Hold on a second. What? What? Reading! Well, I'm sorry I just yelled, but my mom can't really hear me from my room, so yeah. Sorry if that, like, broke your speaker or anything like that. Yikes. Okay. Alright, I'm just gonna try to refrain from screaming again. Yep, that's what I'm gonna do. Alright. Where was I? He was now half across the street, but the roar from the Beetle's engines whined higher as it put on speed. "The police, of course. They see me. But slow now, slow, quiet. Don't turn, don't look. Don't seem concerned. Walk, that's it. Walk, walk." The Beetle was rushing. The Beetle was roaring. The Beetle raised its speed. The Beetle was whining. The Beetle was in high thunder. The Beetle came skimming. The Beetle came in a single whistling trajectory, fired from an invisible rifle. It was up to 120 miles per hour. It was up to 130 at least. Montag clamped his jaws. The heat of the racing headlights burnt his cheek, it seemed, and jittered his eyelids and flushed the sour sweet out of all his body. Alright, I'm going to stop there because my mom and dad are calling me, so I'll put another video on there. Bye!